What is it about automation testing that is just like so satisfying? Well, that's what I was doing today. I had a fucking great day. I was spinning up. What I've done now is I've added automation tests for the first time and integration acceptance tests and integration tests to a microservice, my new microservice. And so what I have is in my build pipeline, it does the build, runs the unit tests, loads a test web server into memory using all of the configuration from the original, with the exception of key dependencies that I decide whether or not I want to remove. And I'm imagining in this world I can change out the database, I can change out the message bus implementation, I can swap out third-party API calls, which is what I've done, inject a mock that behaves the way I want it to, and then I can just bomb it with tests so that I can test the entire configuration of the API, the API all the way to the third party and back again, so the entire configuration for the microservice in memory without deployment. And tomorrow I'm going to generate the same test again, but in real life, so with a real connection to the database, to the third party. It's so good. I'm so fucking proud of it. Oh, it was fucking beautiful. And literally you can just bring it up. So the dream is build, test, bomb it with absolutely everything you need at that level where you have complete control, you have no dependencies that you care about, you don't have to worry about database state, you don't have to worry about costing calls to a third-party microservice. You do everything you need to do at that point, and then when you deploy it, you just do like 1 or 2 automation tests across the key paths to make sure that it works. And oh, it's so fucking good. Yeah, so now all I need to do is, so at the moment I have like a pretty rough implementation of it. What I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to dog food my own Swagger implementation so that my integration tests and acceptance tests both use the Swagger file that we generate in the actual application to communicate. And that should mean that I'm using models that are a lot more user-friendly to the testers. And then maybe the testers can come in and start doing automation tests in the microservices before deployment. So good. But yeah, at the moment I'm just doing like straight up HTTP client communication, which is a little bit finicky, because it's literally like, serializing JSON. It's just a bit too complicated for a tester to figure out, but I'm just trying to like polish it now. Oh, it's so good. And I wonder what it is about this kind of stuff that I love so much, but I love it with like all of my heart. It's just so satisfying. I feel like I should moonlight as an automation tester. Maybe that should just be, maybe my next job I should just be automation tester. Because it's so much fun. It's so much more fun than actually developing it in the first place. Why is that? Well, I wonder what that is. Anyway, it's 5 o'clock. It's also super sunny out. It's really nice weather. Your boy JP has an errand to run. This door here has been really annoying Laura. This door, because it doesn't close properly. We have our coats on the back of it, and that weight basically means that this catch doesn't close properly. Laura ordered a weird latch thing that she was planning on putting on the door, like that, which would catch it. But I think that looks horrible. But basically, I just walk around in my own little bubble and I don't look at things. Like I didn't know that this picture rail existed. I didn't know before Laura swapped it out what pot that plant used to be in. I've just become oblivious to the fact that this door is annoying. But as soon as it's put on my radar, I fix it. And I'm like, I go out and sort it out. So, let's go sort it out. Boom. Look at that. Oh wait, my coat's in the way. Hang on, fucking coats. Well, too many coats is the main problem. Boom. I have technically cheated by swapping the one that I bought with one that goes upstairs. But we can't close this door properly anyway. But now, you can close it properly because I fixed the hinge. And I've just got to make sure. The problem is they've painted over the old one of them. So, oh, that's way bigger, Jimmer. Oh, fuck. I mean, what more do you fucking want, mate? That's fucking closed. Happy days. A fixer. I fix things, you know. You just give me my little screwdriver. You'd be amazed what I can fix with a screwdriver. That's what I do. I just look at something and I'm like, I'm going to fix that. Look at that. Look, you can walk past that without having to like sidestep it. Oh. When I got the thing working at work, I showed the tester and they weren't half as excited about it as I was. And it's not fair. What is it that I always find things exciting that aren't exciting to other people? Because you just tell them and you see them getting bored. And I'm like pumped. I'm like, and that means this. She's like, oh, cool. Laura is on her way home. We're having, oh, look at this. Just got to pull that open. The problem is we don't have anywhere else to put coats that we don't wear very often. We need to get, I'll tell you what we need to get. Some kind of coat rail for this. We have like this weird, corner thing in our bedroom. So you walk into a bedroom like so, and then you've got like this weird little alcove thing, because the stairs are here. And then there's just this door thing. The previous owners had like a cat thing here. Well, there is basically no point to this at all. No idea what you could do with this, apart from turn it into potentially a wardrobe. But that isn't... What's that? Watching someone try and park up outside. They seem to be driving quite erratically though, to say they're just parking up. But hey ho. And when we could put some coats there, then we don't have to worry about having too many coats on the thing downstairs. And that would be the dream. That would be the goddamn dream. These blinds, we are big fans of these blinds, ladies and gentlemen. They were one of the best decisions we've made. Very unproductive day today. I've got about half an hour of programming done. I've got to the point where I'm like, I need to start storing some data into the database again, and it's just a bit of a faff. And I just could not be arsed. Didn't start till late either, because we went for a walk with Laura out on the boot, and we had some dinner. We had some really nice dinner though, although we're starting to eat, Laura's like trying to eat healthier, which means that I have to eat healthier. There's usually two problems with healthy food. It's either bland, which this recipe book seems to be fine with, because it just puts a shitload of chilli in everything. So everything has a chilli and chilli flakes. So it's always got a kick, which is fine. I love a kick, love it. Really nice. Nice and spicy. It was prawn linguine. Prawn linguine, by the way. The problem is it's just not filling. It's just not like, it doesn't fill you up. It's not like, that was lovely. I could just not eat another morsel all day now. And I'm like, it hit 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I'm like, hungry, what can I have? So I had a slice of toast with Nutella on it. I don't know how she does it. Coming out for an afternoon walk, boys. The problem is, when I'm not napping at lunchtime, I often just work through lunch without really thinking about it. And over lunchtime, I was doing deployments. I've just done the build and deployment pipeline for the microservice, deploying to Google Cloud. It's good stuff. It's a bit janky. There is a bit of hacky shit going on, but it works. That's all I care about. It's as janky and hacky as I'm allowed, because there's literally no tools to do file transformation. So I have to transform my config files somehow, and that's the way I've gone about doing it. So literally doing regex transforms on the command line. Yeah, I was doing that over lunch, and I was like, oh shit, it's finished. I don't really have anything to do now. I need to buy some more juice. So I thought I'd go for a walk. This is my lunch break, about an hour and a half after when it should have been. I'm going to pick up some more juice and then walk back. Yes, I've now finished full integration suite, full automation suite, so acceptance tests and integration. The weather is absolutely lovely. I've just been sat outside reading. Haven't read in a long time, and therefore my Kindle's dead. Sat in the sun. It's not too hot. It's not too hot to like not wear a hoodie, but it's not too cold. You know, it's lovely. In the shade it's cold, but in the sun it's nice and warm. Not heard back from Laura yet, so I don't know when she's coming back. I'm gonna settle down and do some work, I think. I'm not sure Laura's doing much work tonight, so we'll see. I'm trying to get the balance right between looking after myself and working. I need to work, I need to be productive, but I need to do it in a clever way. Work smarter, not harder, as they say. So like a running theme for the next couple of weeks, at least the next 2 weeks at least, will be balancing those things to make sure that I am doing that in the right way and not just working worse. You know? I feel like today I may have stretched just a little bit too far away from the work. Bit of a duff day today. I don't know what it is about Fridays, but I always feel like they're a little bit... I think the office is just a bit emptier, and it's just kind of like... I don't think it always happened. Like my old job, Friday wasn't slower than any other day, but it just feels slower. It feels like there's just less direction. There's less like urgency to anything on a Friday. I've moved on to the next ticket now, next ticket along. Everyone else is still kind of working on the first one. I'm like trying to race ahead a little bit. I pulled off today what I tried to do, what I did for the first time with a web API which is that whole concept of building up the API so that you can inject in dependencies differently from if you started it as a message, from the unit, from testing, from automation tests. You can build up the application and then inject in different dependencies and then run tests against it. I pulled that off with a message processor. So I've now got a message processor that runs on a console application. It's a bit different, it's a bit more complicated to do because a lot of the extension methods are on the ASP.NET web host, and this is on a generic host. So it's on host builder instead of web host builder. So it's a little bit more complicated to do. So I was like, oh shit, I don't think this is possible. And then the way that mass transit works is mass transit works with a shitload of, like, each object is loads of small interfaces. So I'm like trying to figure out which interfaces I need to inject in through the abstract class and which ones I need to do on the implementation classes. Got there in the end. So this is the first microservice we have where we have a web API. Well, this is the first one we have with a web API and a message processor with two separate entities. They can be separated out entirely, so they can be run and hosted on different machines if you wanted to, or they can be hosted and ran together. It's pretty dope. But yeah, so today was a process of spinning it up, making sure it worked, making sure that I could still do the automation test the way I wanted it, and making sure that Max could run it, because the problem was everyone I've done from now, previously, message processors, have been either Service Fabric ones or Windows services. These aren't Windows services because we run on Linux. And everyone else has on Mac, so I can't use things like Top Shelf. So it was quite an interesting day. It was quite an interesting day of things to do, problems to solve. Made a lot of progress, so I'm happy with it. It just felt like a slow start. It was one of them ones where you're like surprised at how little. In the morning, it was like, it wasn't about, I'd get in at about 8, it was about 10 where I finally started to like get into stuff, and then I like cream through. Like I say, I'm pretty proud of it, but just a bit slow. It's bedtime. Also, came home, did some work, helped Laura with some of her work, watched TV, and it's bedtime because we've got to get up early for tomorrow for Formula 1 qualifying. Come to town so Laura and I can get our haircuts. Obviously my haircut only takes like 10-20 minutes, so I'm now like trying to kill time. There's normally a queue at my hairdressers, so I wasn't expected to be in and out so quickly, but at least I got some lunch. That was nice. Something else big that we did today, ladies and gentlemen, was, oh my gosh, what the frick is that? Did some decorating in it, lol. So yeah, we did the first coat of the colour that we're putting in there. Also, that's what we did this morning, and then we headed on out into town to get a haircut and stuff, and then came back, and we haven't like undone the living room yet, so we've basically just been doing a load of work. Finished off a load of Saga and message bus stuff that I was doing for registering webhooks. I now need to develop the webhook, which is exciting, and then we went downstairs, put the fire on, and watched TV in the kitchen while I was fucking around with I don't know why I've come up here to vlog. While I was fucking around with making sure that my website is ready for technical blogs, i.e. like code. It's a faff, but I've got some work. I've got no real excuse, you know what I mean? I can start writing the blog. Otherwise, waking up early tomorrow so we can watch Formula 1 on Atlas, not on a big TV, which is sad, but that's life. I could watch it on this TV, to be fair, but I'd probably watch it on Atlas. That is actually quite a tough decision to make, isn't it? I don't know. I get to jump feet first into creating a webhook via an Azure function. What I've been doing today, I've created a new project for it, and I'm just looking at how Azure functions have changed quite a lot since the last time I used them. And I'm just trying to figure out how to do things. Because there's like a number of choices I've got. So basically I'm subscribing to a HTTP request. I need to put a message on a bus. That message can either be I can either put a topic directly onto an Azure service bus and then let Mass Transit pick it up and handle it on my side, or I could use Mass Transit to put it onto Azure service bus and then in theory simplify that process. There's like two different ways of doing both of those. So to put it via mass transit, I have to spin up an instance of mass transit effectively and pump a message on. I could either do that via dependency injection, or I could do it via just inline. Or I could do the same, but with Azure Service Bus, i.e. via dependency injection. Or I could just return, like, make that my new output effectively, so I can like output to that thing via Service Bus, via the function, sorry, which is interesting. I feel like that's the way I want to go. Complicates things ever so slightly. Does it complicate things ever so slightly? I don't think it does, because effectively I just get to the point where I've got a message, I just want to put it on the bus and just go, fuck it, do it, boy. I need mass transit for that. So, right, okay, I think I've talked myself into it, that's why I'm talking to you. Otherwise, this morning we watched Formula 1, which was good. Well, I had to watch it in here because downstairs the living room was out of action. Otherwise, I've been doing all the normal jobs, so I've done the washing and cleaning and stuff. And Laura's been putting a second coat on in the living room while I've been working. She's now glossing. Glossing? Yeah, I think I am going to do a output a message rather than do anything else. I was looking at whether or not the mass transit stuff would give me anything for free, basically, and it doesn't. So, I mean, that does mean I've got to wrap the object in one of those things. But I did that for work anyway when I proved the concept for Node stuff, you know. And ta-da! What do you think of that, guys? Can't take credit. I helped with the first coat. Laura did everything else. But it looks pretty goddamn good. I'm coming downstairs now. I'm gonna start some stuff and I'm cooking dinner. Find something new, like when I'm just starting with this Azure function thing, is like, it's so annoying because it feels like I've not made a lot of progress there. I've spent a lot of time but not made a lot of progress. But everything I'm doing, I'm like, I come up to a bit, I'm like, right, I need to Google this. I've got 3 options, I need to Google which one I think is the best. And then it's just like a load of research to try and figure out what it is that I want to do. And then actually writing it is easy. Turns out what I am going to do is generate a message processor thing using mass transit, not by going straight via the Azure Service Bus. It's not quite as trivial, it seems. I can't get it working quickly, in a way. I was going to end up having to do some hacks to make it work via just Azure Service Bus topics. I think it's the way that topics work compared to RabbitMQ stuff. Slightly different. I think that's the thing that was catching me up. I can create the topic, but I couldn't capture it again from mass transit. It didn't like it at all. And I think it's to do with the fact, I don't know, but I think it's to do with the destination address. And the destination address that I have is, I won't be able to calculate that on the fly in Azure Functions. So I'm going to go down the mass transit route, and it's going to be much more simple. But annoyingly, because of that, it means that I need to put in my own dependency injection stuff and not just use the hand cranked one that comes from the Azure Functions itself, which is so sweet. But that's fine. And it's bedtime, ladies and gentlemen. I've been setting up my computer I installed it on Atlas, the latest version of Visual Studio. I installed it on Atlas like pretty quickly. Obviously Atlas is relatively new, so it hasn't had a lot of stuff on it recently. But I've had to remove some stuff from my laptop. I didn't have to, but I did. Because the problem is when you run things like build servers and Service Fabric, it just stashes a shitload of cached stuff. So I've got like builds that go back like months and months and months and months. And I just deleted an entire folder and saved like 50 gig of just old DLLs. It's going through a disk cleanup. I uninstalled Visual Studio 2015, which is how old this is now. Installed 2019, and I'm now uninstalling 2017. It's taking forever. It's taking this goddamn fucking time. But it's time for bed, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy JP is going off to the land of Nod. I'm going to end the video here as well, ladies and gentlemen. I'm falling behind again on vlogs. I should catch up on that. I'm just not really finding much time for it. But yeah, so this weekend, been quite productive. but also doesn't feel very productive. But I'm now set up to start doing this on my laptop as well. So I may start doing a bit more programming and or blogging, now that I can do technical blogs on my website, in my lunchtime. We'll see. The next thing I need to do is webhooks into mass transit message buses. That's my next priority. So, thanks for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you later.